Guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina, and on this channel we do art stuff. So today I have a sketchbook tour slash flip through to go over with you guys. I'll zoom out just a tad there. So I finished this sketchbook, can't remember when now. When was it? When did I finish it? 21st of March. So a little over a month ago, and I've been meaning to sit down and film this sketchbook flip through ever since. It's just one of those things that's fallen by the wayside every time. So the sketchbook itself is a handbook watercolor journal. Sorry for the squeaking, that's my chair. It's a travelogue handbook watercolor journal. It's cellulose paper. I can't remember what the GSM is. I will have it linked in the description box below. I think you can get it on Jackson's. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from. And yeah, it has this really nice sort of linen cover on the front, like cloth linen cover, and it has a bookmark tab thing as well. And so when I started this sketchbook, I had recently purchased this book, The Joy of Sketch by Jen Russell Smith, and I just found it a very sort of appealing and inspiring book, and I sort of flipped through it. I'd read through a lot of the pages and stuff, and I was like, okay, let's I set myself a challenge essentially to try and work my way through this book, and I got part way through. Can't remember how far I got before I kind of veered away from this book, not because I wasn't enjoying it anymore, but because, and I'll explain, I essentially what's the word? Well, I was trying a few different things as well, and then I started getting really bad morning sickness, and I ended up putting everything away for a few months before I finally came back to it. And essentially what I was trying to treat this book as kind of like a sketching practice book. I wanted to practice more sketching and then watercoloring the sketches and stuff like that, and or just sketching with watercolor in general. So I worked through the first few pages. Like I said, I followed the prompts in the book. One of the first prompts was just to do a page of patterns. That's what I did here. Then another one was to sketch your palette. So I did that. And here I used my Paul Rubens watercolor set that I decided to dedicate the use of those specifically for this sketchbook, which I did for the first section, and then later I used other colors as well. But I had a lot of fun with this, and I've had a few requests from people about talking about my Paul Rubens watercolors, so I might do a separate video on that. If you're interested, please, if you would be interested in seeing that, let me know in the description box, in the comments below, and I will be sure to add that to my never-ending list of videos to make. Then I did a quick drawing practice using a bottle of Winsor & Newton ink. Clearly I did not wait long enough for it to dry here when I watercolored it in, and I smudged it by accident. I think this one was just a general quick sketch. This one was like a blind drawing, so you kind of don't look at the paper as you're drawing. And this one was a continuous line drawing, so this one was like you don't lift the pen off the paper and stuff like that. So it was good. It was a really fun exercise and not something I'd done before. Then I decided to practice sketching a trio of cherry tomatoes that was still on the vine. These were from our garden, so I was sketching from life. Not entirely happy with how these turned out, but it was fun nonetheless to do. And like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with sketching in pen and or sketching with ink and watercolor, etc. Then I found some images on Unsplash, which is a royalty-free website where you can use the photos for painting or whatever other purposes you want to use. So I practiced painting some of those images, and again, I think some turned out better than others. I quite like how the macarons turned out. Not perfect, but you know, it's all about practice. And then I did this page of macarons as well, which I quite liked. And then this I sketched this flower based off of a picture that I took when we went to the Eden project last year. And I like how the sketch turned out, like the actual line work, but I wasn't entirely happy with the watercolouring. And so I did actually try it again which we'll see in a second, but I'm not entirely happy with either version, to be honest. But that could also be to do with the paper, because like I said, it's cellulose paper. It's kind of got that what's that word? It's got like a slightly plasticky feel. It just doesn't absorb the watercolor the way cotton watercolor paper does, so it just reacts differently, and I guess I wasn't able to get the look I wanted with this particular paper. So maybe I'll try it again on cotton paper at some point, but this was my first attempt. Then I did a couple more sketches based off of images I took when we were in Cornwall. This one, again from the Eden Project, was a bunch of a group of oranges at the end of a branch. This one was from a coastal photo. I am terrible at painting the sea, as you can see here. I need a lot of practice, but it was a fun sketch and it kind of captured the moment in the photo. So I'm not terribly disappointed by it. I just wish I was better, but that's what this is all about. It's about improvement. Then I did, this one was another prompt from the book, was to draw and paint your shopping list. So I did that for one week, and that was quite fun. Paint your mugs, which I did, and these are not actual mugs that we own. I just sort of made them up, but that was quite fun to do. And then I kind of went off a bit off piece, and I did some citrus slices. It was October at this point, so I started painting pumpkins, and I really love how these turned out. And I ended up doing a color mixing spread in a different sketchbook, which I recorded. I'm pretty sure it was a granulating color mixes video that I did on this channel, which was really fun to do. And I used the pumpkins as like the color mixing chart, as it were. And then I did another painting from a photo taken on our trip. Again, not happy with how the colors turned out. I really struggle with sketching people, as you can probably tell. But overall, there again, I feel like it did capture the moment quite nicely, but it's not great. This was another one that I did based off of something I saw on Pinterest, which I think didn't turn out too badly. Again, I can't really draw hair, so that didn't work out too well there. And then here was from another couple of photos. This one was again from Cornwall. Not the worst, but not the best either. And this was my second attempt at that flower, so it kind of turned out a bit better, but I'm not really happy with how the shading and like the shadows turned out. It wasn't, there again, just wasn't what I was aiming for, as it were. So if I compare it to the other one, where is it? There it is. It's definitely cleaner, it's less messy than this one, but I don't know, I'm not really happy with either, to be honest. But it was good. It was a good experiment, and it was good to see what I was able to do, and coming at it a second time was definitely worth it. This is one of my favorite spreads, and it was so simple. I literally just, it was one evening before going to bed, and I was just like, you know what, I just want to splash some color on a page. And that's what I did. I splashed some paint on the page and then left it to dry, came back to it the next morning and scribbled on some lines to create a landscape, and added some very rudimentary looking pine trees to that as well. But I just really love how simple it looks. Oh, and I added some birds as well. I just really love how simple it was, but also pretty effective as well, I think. And again, I did some more practices from photos. These are photos of my daughter from over the years. And yeah, I cannot draw faces to save my life. This was the first, and I think only, gouache painting in this book, in this sketchbook. So I was practicing. I drew this snake plant, again from a photo that I found on Unsplash. And then I think this was supposed to be a feather, but then I basically made it a leaf. I'm not really sure what I was thinking at this point. And then I did this cactus sketch painting. Most of these were off of pictures that I found on Unsplash or on the internet somewhere to use as just practice references. Then I was just playing around with some doodles, and I think I painted these in, or coloured these in, using my Ecoline brush pens. I was playing around with using those and wanted to practice a bit with them, and so I had some fun doing some doodles. This, I don't know what was going on here. I think at this point was kind of coming up to the point where I was about to stop painting in general, because it was around the time that I found out I was pregnant and morning sickness was starting to set in. So this definitely didn't turn out how I'd planned. I'm not entirely sure what I was planning, but it wasn't this. This was taken based off a photo I took when we went down. I went down to Eastbourne with my daughter and mother-in-law, and there was this really funky building that basically looks exactly like this. And I was like, oh, that'd be really fun to paint. And because it's so like color blocky and geometric looking, I thought it was quite fun with like the abstract-y sky in the background. I really like how that one turned out. Monstera leaf, and then I'd gotten some new art supplies and I thought it'd be really fun to sketch out the new paints that I'd got. So I sat down and I really like how this page turned out, to be honest. This one turned out quite nicely. I really like how the paint tubes turned out. And then, yeah, this was the last thing I painted in October. I haven't even finished it. I intended to go back and do some line drawings. I haven't done that. I haven't added any line work to it. And so you can see here, based on the dates, I did this on the 25th of October, and then I didn't come back to this until the 21st of March of this year. Actually, wait, is that when I finished this book? Yeah, so I must have finished, this must have been the very last thing I did. I came back. That can't be right. Oh, that's how long I took a break for. I didn't finish on, I finished this on the 2nd of April. Okay, it wasn't the 21st of March. What's going on here? Yeah, sorry, I misread my dates. So I came back to it on the 21st of March. I think, if I remember correctly, I had done some pencil sketching of fruits and stuff, and I came back and I painted them, and I painted this using my beam paints. So they're a lot more, they dry a lot more muted, and they're quite textured paints, and they're really nice to paint with. They're a handmade paint company. And then I think I talked about this in the last haul video I did when I got some additional Roma Schmall paints from Jackson's. I'll try and remember to link that video below. And I had seen a video by Kimberly Crick recently at the time, and again I'll try and remember to link that video, where she was kind of playing around with these 4 colours as like a limited palette. I became slightly obsessed with these colours together. And so these were the versions I had of those colours in my stash already. So I had Daniel Smith's Buff Titanium, Sennelier's Helios Purple, which is a quinacridone magenta, Winsor & Newton's Permanent Mauve, which is a manganese violet, and Schmincke's Phthalo Green Blue shade. And these colour mixes together, I just thought they were really beautiful, really fun. And I played around with some colour mixing here. Sorry about my phone or computer beeping rather. And then I did a couple of paintings on this page, just to play around with the colours and the mixing and just see how they work together. Then I sketched out my beam paint palette and painted it with the beam paints, as it were, and I sort of labelled the different pans with the different colour names. This is something I really like doing when I can't think of anything else to paint, is I will paint my supplies. Specifically paint palettes, because it gives you a chance to practice sketching perspective and painting from life and drawing from life and stuff like that, and I think that's quite fun. Then I painted these using beam paints. The only thing I will say with beam paints is I struggle with maintaining the lightness in the painting. They always end up looking quite dark for me, and I feel like that's just on my part, being a bit heavy-handed with the paints. I tend to be pretty heavy-handed with my watercolors anyway, but so it's hard for me to maintain that brightness and luminosity when I do that. But I do quite like how these turned out, all considering. And again, these were painted from photo references I found on the internet. And there again, just practicing some sketching, drawing plants and botanicals and painting. And then these were really fun. I really enjoyed doing these. I did the line work in ink first, and then went in with some watercolors. Again, these were taken with inspiration from like Pinterest, I think, or online images and stuff like that in general, just for practicing. And then I started getting more into doing some abstract paintings and sort of like rock stacks, as it were, and just having some fun, really experimenting with different paints. What paints was I using at this point? I think by this point I'd moved on to my what paints was I can't remember what paints I was using for these ones now. I definitely wasn't the bean paints anymore. And then 1st of April I decided, I saw something similar to this as kind of like a bullet journal cover page for April, and I was like, oh, that looks like fun, but I'm not bullet journaling at the moment, so I just did that in here just to practice and play around. And again, just playing around with some color mixing and doodling. Did another couple of landscape, sort of inspired by the ones I'd done earlier, but there again I still think, where is it? Oh, where did it go? Ah, I still think this turned out better than these. There again, I don't know what was going on with me, but I was very heavy-handed with the color on these two, so they look a lot darker, and I didn't maintain the lightness and the brightness of the page that I was intending to. And then again, just some flowery doodles, some more rock doodles. And then here I was swatching out my Caran d'Ache colours at the end, just to see how they worked on this paper. But yeah, that's it for this sketchbook tour. I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I had a really good run at it at the beginning before I got sick with morning sickness. Like literally the first half of I finished the first half of the book in what, about a month, and then the second half took me a couple of weeks. It was from the 21st of March to the 2nd of April was when I finished it, so it took a couple of weeks. Not long at all overall, so probably about 6-7 weeks total to finish the sketchbook, if you don't count the, what was it, 4-month hiatus in between, maybe longer, 5 months. I had a 5-month hiatus between between when I stopped painting and started painting in here again. But that was mostly, like I said, I was very ill for a big chunk of my pregnancy, and yeah, so that's why that happened. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. I will also make sure to have this book linked in the description box below as well if you're interested. I got this on Amazon. I still plan on going back and doing some more of the prompts in here. I do think it's a really fun book, and I think it's a really great one if you want kind of, I'm not going to say hand holding, because it's not really tutorials on how to do things or how to sketch things, but it's more of a really good prompt and inspiration book, and I like it for that. And yeah, so I do plan on working through some more of this and some more of the prompts in future sketchbooks. But yeah, anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that, and let me know in the comments below what you thought. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.